Are you ready? Can crush us. It don't really get no better than this the podcast that you're looking for. If you're really heavy into wrestling, hosted by the Mark. Energy that's so amazing. Gotta keep it entertaining. Rep the Can Crusher Nation. Yeah, you know what's going down in the ring. Lights out when you hit a ding ding. Knock 'em out like boom, bada bing. Hold it down, you can crown me the king. Got a shout out to the Miz and Duke the Dumpster. We choke slamming everybody, power driving, hit 'em with a face buster. Yeah, this the show you need, and it ain't no need for waiting. Mark, hold it down for the Can Crusher Nation. All about wrestling and keep it entertaining. Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Time to break 'em, let's go. Yeah, Can Crushers. Yeah, Can Crushers. Let's go.
This is Donnie Bambino, one half of the Bad Fellas, and you're listening to Can Crushers. I don't know how you're listening to it, but I'll tell you what, you better leave a 5-star or I'll come visit you, and you don't want me knocking at your door.
Listen up, maggots. It's now time for another Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. That's horrible. That is probably the worst Sarge Slaughter you'll ever hear in your life. Hi, I'm Mark the Mark. I run Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast, and this is a Spotlight edition. I hope everybody is getting set up for an amazing 4th of July. We are here at Can Crushers. This one kind of fell in my pocket. So we have the Sarge, Cal Christopher, coming on the show. We're going to talk all things Cal Christopher. What makes him a Sarge? Why is he wrestling? What's he want to do? And what did he love about wrestling as a child? You know, the questions that you hear over and over again. But that tells the story. That essentially tells the story of every wrestler being a mark. I was duly named by my mother. She knew, hey, this kid's going to be a mark for wrestling, so I'm going to name him Mark. What makes Cal a mark? We've had some of these conversations because High Ground Pro Wrestling, yeah, I kind of worked there a little bit. So Cal and I getting this set up. But we have to do the due diligence first. We really, really do. So let me tell you, if you want to be on the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast Spotlight Edition, reach out. You can go to any of our social media, which is Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, slide into the DMs and say, hey, let's schedule a spotlight. Let's get this going. I'd love to come on and tell your story. Or your story. Not my story, your story. Tell somebody's story. Or you could reach out the old-fashioned way, which is email nowadays, cancrusher69@gmail.com. But where can you listen to all these? Well, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, Alexa, Boxcast. We post them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can listen anywhere. You really can. Whatever your favorite platform is, whatever you're listening to right now is probably where we're going to stick and stay. Do it. Listen. And if you can, please leave a rating. Leave a comment. Tell us what we're doing. Do you enjoy it? Do you hate it? I don't care. I really just leave us a star. Let us know what's going on. Love the feedback. And, of course, we have to tell you about Collar and Elbow. Hats, hoodies, tees, sweats, all the cool things that Al Snow and his hooligans at Collar and Elbow have going on. Make sure you check them out. Buy amazing shirts. Right now, I have my Macho Man shirt on. I'm telling you, I live in this Macho Man shirt. I really do. I look good in purple, too. A lot of people don't say that, but I do. I look great in purple. So I have that one on. If you want it, go buy it. And then use the promo code CANCRUSHERS and save 10%. That's all you have to do. Capital C in Can, capital C in Crushers, in that little promo code place, and you will save 10% off your order. You can add ease now. You can add ease. Because coming up is Al Snow to tell you about Collar and Elbow, and then on the line right now, the Sarge, Cal Christopher.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Hi, this is Valos the Freak, and you're listening to Can Crushers with the Mark, and I'll tell you, you're going to have a freaking good time listening.
And welcome back to Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Guys, you heard how excited I was. Plus, being around 4th of July, what better to have the Sarge, Cal Christopher, come on to the show. Cal, how the heck you doing?
Hey, doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, this is really nice because, listen, fourth wall down. I bring that down a lot on the show. All over the place with scheduling. Everything's happened this, that, or the other. But we lucked out. This is 4th of July week, and I have a Sarge on Can Crushers. It couldn't have worked out any better, right?
No, stars aligned perfectly. You know, it did. It worked out great.
So, pretty new to high ground professional wrestling, but we'll get there on all that because you've reffed, you've done this, you've done that, you've done some stuff behind the scenes. You're kind of like all over the place, but we have to go to the way back, Cal. We have to learn who introduced you to this love of professional wrestling. Mom, Dad, Uncle Joe, Aunt Sally, who was it?
Oh, man, you are really setting the Wayback Machine.
Yeah, I know.
I've always loved wrestling back. I don't probably go as far back as some folks that I work with, but I go back to the 80s. And my dad, when he was around, he was a trucker. So that was our thing that we did Saturdays. So when he luckily had that weekend off, he wasn't road hauling. We'd sit down, we watch, what was it called back then? The Saturday Showcase or something like that.
Are you talking WWF or are you talking NWA?
Who?
Are you talking the WWF time?
No, WWF. Yeah.
Okay. Saturday Superstars?
Yeah, during WWF with
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was Superstars. Came on, you watched Dukes of Hazzard, your cartoons, and then you ended with American Gladiators and WWF.
Yes. And listen, again, fourth wall, we're roughly the same age. At one point, Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling was on at that same time.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
I remember watching that, yes.
Yes. So were you a WWF guy right from the start? Never trickled over to what was NWA in our time?
No, that was the only wrestling I knew. That was the only wrestling my dad knew. Country boys out in Kansas, we didn't know much. So you popped on the Saturday, you watched it. I know we were kind of in that Mid-South area where, that was a big territory, but we just didn't know about indie wrestling. You just, Saturday afternoon, Dad would sit down with us, and we'd watch Andre and Hulk and Warrior, and never got to see. First time I ever got to see a pay-per-view was, I think, almost 20 years later. So it was Saturday afternoon wrestling, and then when the Attitude Era happened, I flopped back with WCW and WWF at the time, and that's what I'd watch. But yeah, my dad got me into wrestling and watched all those old guys. I even remember watching, I think there was a couple things on TV that was, what's his name? Superstar Billy Graham, but those guys, those are the old ones that I used to watch. I know they're not, Greg the Hammer Valentine or anything like that, but, Junkyard Dog, Coco Beware, Superfly Snuka. Yeah, we always used to watch them. It was great. My dad just sit down, we'd watch, we'd talk about it. And then, that was the special times that we got when Dad was off the road.
You named a litany of my favorites, and at one point I'm going to ask who the Sarge is, and I have you freaking pinpointed. I'll tell you that. And it's not because of conversations we've had. It's just from watching you in the ring and everything, but we'll get to that. So you mentioned Andre. We just had an amazing conversation with another person from High Ground Professional Wrestling, Valos. We talked about Andre and our first experiences. Did you ever get to go to an event and see Hogan or Warrior or JYD?
No, and that was something that we always wished we could do. So just like getting a pay-per-view, we just never had the time, the money. Like I say, with my folks working multiple jobs, we never could go do it. First time I ever met any wrestlers was right before I went into the military, and my recruiter took us down to the Wichita airport, and they were coming off the airplane. We got to meet a few of them, but I never got to I wish as a kid I could have gone and seen some of these things firsthand, because I loved it. As a kid, I loved wrestling. So it would have been, I would have been starstruck, probably would have fainted, So that's a missed opportunity that I wish I could go back and there was a chance that we could have gone to some live events.
This is from the bottom of my heart. I really do feel sorry for you. And it's not a slap either, because that is some of my greatest memories. And, being next to Andre or seeing Hogan run down the aisle, and, you're 4'0" or 3'6" or whatever, and they're, at the time, you think they're 10'12",
Yeah.
But it's unbelievable meeting them, and they're superstars, they're heroes, they're Marvel characters nowadays, right?
Yeah, you bring that up. I don't want to wax sentimental, but that was one thing that I liked watching it with my dad, because these guys were those superheroes. When you're a kid, they're as real as you get to a comic book hero, the superheroes. They're doing these unhuman things in the ring, and it's real. You could actually go and touch them if you want. You can't, go shake hands with Spider-Man or Thor or anything like that. But then sitting there with my dad, who was a giant to me. I mean, he was as big as Andre the Giant to me, when you're looking up at him as a 6-year-old or 7-year-old. But that's what made, even though I couldn't go see the wrestlers, I sat there with my dad watching these guys. I was like, no, I'm with my own giant. I'm with my own superhero, and I get to watch these guys. And, this is going to sound weird, but one of my favorites was Honky Tonk Man. Nobody talks about him real much that I hear.
He was the longest reigning IC champion for the longest time. Yeah, he is. He's amazing.
I was a fan. You don't hear him very much, but my dad almost was a spitting image of the Honky Tonk Man. So every Saturday with the long sideburns, the big black hair, I sat next to Honky Tonk Man watching, wrestling. So, I never got to see that, and wish I could. But I had my own, that's what made it special to me. That's what made wrestling special to me, why I loved it. So I had my superhero watching my superheroes.
I get it. Because I say all this that I was young when I went to see him. Before I made my first wrestling event with my dad, I was probably maybe 10 or 11, so I was always watching it alongside my grandfather. My dad was reluctant to take me, but my mom, with the iron whip, take your son to wrestling, shut up and spend some time with, he wasn't that bad, but, spend some time with him. Mine was sitting with my grandfather, and I understand exactly what you're saying with your hero. My grandfather, number one person in my life, besides my mom, but in a male figure way, that he brought me into this. So yeah, Saturday mornings we would watch Superstars, and then Saturday night on TBS it was NWA, which turned into WCW.
Yeah.
From 6:05 to 8:05, we would watch Flair and Dusty and Magnum and those guys do their thing. Yeah, and I marked out with him.
We'd flip back. Yeah, we did. I forget. Yeah, we would swap over to TBS. I do remember. Ric Flair, Dusty, a couple of other guys. I can't remember the Colonel Sanders manager guy's name. I do remember him.
Robert Lee Parker.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
As I get older, the names start slipping away from me.
Trust me, I know. I forget my wife's name sometimes. It's okay. She's gonna beat me. She really is today, Cal. So you mentioned Honky as one of your favorite, and I do want to know maybe a couple more that you really transitioned to. But I want to know, were you a fan then when Honky bashed the guitar over Macho Man?
Oh yeah, yeah.
You were a villain then. You were definitely a villain.
I was split. Because, like I say, you got to remember, I was young. My dad's my hero. So that was Honky. My dad was Honky Tonk. I was split. I was a Macho Man fan. I was never a Hogan fan. I never got on that bandwagon. I gravitated towards Macho, to Jake the Snake, to Honky. So when that happened, I was like, yeah, oh, no, wait, yes, no, It was one of those, who do I root for in this?
You brought up Savage and Jake, which is one of the worst things in the world that ever happened. He was bit by a snake. All right, take the guitar shot away. Now you have somebody getting bit by a snake. Who are you rooting for there?
Yeah, well, and then you got to remember, Honky hits Jake the Snake with an ungimmicked guitar.
He did.
And, yeah, so, I love chaos,
Clearly.
Bring me that. I like opposing forces, that's just me, don't know whether to love or hate,
No, you love the wrestling business is what it is. The stories draw you in, right?
Yes, and that's the thing. You can love a wrestler, but what do you love about them? Is it how they're presented to you, the story that goes behind them? Because you can absolutely hate this character, but the story drives you into it. You're like, I hate this guy, but I got to find out what's happening.
Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper, right?
Yes, Roddy Piper.
Yep. Memory freaking lane. I love it. So, all right. So you find wrestling with Dad and you're watching and everything. Talk to me about, do you have a background in sports in high school, like Greco-Roman wrestling, baseball, anything like that? Because it all transitions into wrestling. It really does. I'll get you there.
To be honest, I played junior basketball. My dad was the coach. And I usually played sports that my dad coached. He loved to coach his boys in sports. Did basketball for a number of years. Always the tallest kid. I was lanky. I was a beanpole. My dad loved it because I didn't have any athletic ability, but just do me a favor, stand by the goal and raise your hands. And you got the board. That's it. That's all I was used for. Don't give him the ball. Don't let him shoot it. But just stick him under the goal and he'll block everybody. I did that. Did baseball for about 3 pitches. Because it was parent pitch, and my dad didn't realize this was parent pitch junior league, and he thought he was trying out for the Kansas City Royals. He hit me, so all I saw was Wilson. That was it.
I love your father. I love your dad.
Yeah, he looked at me and he goes, "Man, you're my firstborn, and you got zero athletic." My dad played football, and he did all that stuff, and I did basketball. I did wrestling in middle school, my 7th and 8th grade years. But then once I got to high school, I was like, yeah, I'm tall and lanky. I'm going to go do, wrestling. I'm going to do basketball. I walk in there. I find out now I'm the shortest guy.
Yeah.
I'm tiny compared to these guys. So it was like, I tried high school wrestling again, probably half the season. And I left it because it was very cliquey in my school.
Welcome to my school as well.
Yeah. So it wasn't a team sport. It wasn't that camaraderie that I wanted. I grew up bullied pretty severely. So I didn't have friends. That's why I got into wrestling, was to, maybe show people that I could do something, or prove to myself that, I wasn't this, wuss. And I wanted that team spirit, that camaraderie, the boys, so to speak, and couldn't find it. So I nerded out. I went and joined junior ROTC when I got into high school. And that's what I did. I, drill team commander, color guard, became a flight commander, things like that. So yeah, after about 8th grade, my sports stopped. I mean, I wish there was more I could tell you, but that's pretty much, it.
No, but it all leads up to it because, you had... Basketball is an endurance sport, and, you were beaten once by your dad, so at least you're tough enough to take one pitch. It leans into it, but and I love how you opened up. I really do, saying that sports are cliquey. Yeah, welcome to the world, right? Welcome to the world. Yep. Especially back then. Really, if you weren't in, or if you were the nerd that wanted to be on the microphone, I'm pointing at myself right now, not that you can see me. I wanted to get into baseball or basketball or anything. I didn't want to play. I wanted to announce. And it wasn't anything the kids did back then. I wanted to do it. And they're like, no, we're not doing this. Shut the hell up and sit on the bench.
Yep.
Well, it didn't work out. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I'm sitting on the bench holding the towel. This is no fun for anybody.
Yeah, that's why I really wanted to do football growing up, because that's what my dad did. But I also knew, okay, I'm like 60 pounds soaking wet.
Right.
What am I going to play? I can't be wide. I had speed, maybe wide receiver, but I'm also, smaller. What I'm going to do is like you. I'm going to be 9th string, and the coach is using my helmet as a spittoon. And that's what's going to happen to me. So it was like, and yeah, growing up, I think the 80s and the 90s were like that. We were getting out of the whole jocks versus nerds thing, but it still had a culture.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I didn't fit in because I was the nerd. You know, I love to sit home, watch my wrestling, read my books. You know, I drew my own comic books, things like that. That was what I did. I wasn't a sports guy. Most sports I knew is I could tell you, you know, Hulk went over last night
Yeah.
or Macho. That's it. I couldn't tell you who won the World Series or, you know, anything like that. I fell asleep during NASCAR and football games my dad used to watch. You know, I was bored out of my mind. You know, I just did it because I thought, okay, let's do something. Then, yeah, it's clicky. You know, got out of it, didn't want to do it. You know, high school kids are vicious.
Yeah, I got a 16-year-old right now. He's vicious. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it. You know, that once I got into high school, but I didn't find my niche. I did find it. I found that junior ROTC program. I got into it, and you know, that's where I found that camaraderie that I was missing. You know, that we were all kind of together, and we were considered the nerds. You know, people hated the ROTC kids, but we banded together. You know, that's what we did. We went to the football games and we carried the colors. You know, we went to the basketball games and we presented arms. You know, that's what we did. You know, we were part of it, but we hung together. So, yeah, I found my niche, but that was, you know, how my sports went, you know, very lackluster, but
No, but I understand them. So the ROTC then trickles into the military, right?
yeah, eventually, I had gone through it. I did my entire high school. I actually even got up to flight commander and stuff like that, and you know, was in charge of my classes and stuff. And I thought, yep, I'm going to go join the military, but I want to be smart. I want to go to college first, get my degree, and go make officer pay. You know, I'm making 3 times what an enlisted puke does. So, yeah, let's go do that route. And that didn't pan out, but yeah, the ROTC gave me that. And okay, I'll tell you something really stupid.
Yes, I love stupid stories. These are what we wait for.
This will destroy my image, and you'll probably never want to talk to me ever again. But the reason I got into the military, I can trace it back to Star Wars.
Okay.
Because
okay.
I know, where is this 6 ways of separation? But I got into ROTC because I read Star Wars books, and I love the Star Wars movies, and you'd see the Imperial Navy with that rank and that structure. Yeah, they were the bad guys. I get it. But they had order and structure and you know, this rank and command and things like that. And, oh, that sounds like a really cool thing. Oh, duh, we have a real thing called the military.
Right.
So I got into ROTC to try that. And, yeah, Star Wars got me into junior ROTC. Junior ROTC got me into, you know, the actual military. And I told that to my kids, and they went, who'd you think you were, Han freaking Solo? Now, looking at me, I'd probably be C-3PO, but still, you know, it got me there.
Right, it got you there. I normally don't ask this because I don't know the background of people actually, but where did you serve? What did you do? I love, you know, thank you for everything you've done. I want to do all of that, and you understand where I'm coming from. Yep. Give your glory of, you know, serving this wonderful USA.
It really, I did 15 years. I was Air Force. And thanks for the support. Do appreciate that. It's always, you tell that to a service member, and you will get a deer in the headlights look, just to let everybody know, because it's like, oh, how do we respond? It's
right.
A job we do. We're doing it for you. You know, thank you. But yeah, thanks. And yeah, I did 15 with the Air Force all over the world. Did my basic here in the States, and my first duty assignment was actually Japan. So I got to go overseas. My first duty assignment, which was fun. It was scary. I was 19 at the time, had just dropped out of college. So went over there, and it was a good thing I did. I actually traded assignments, and that's where I met my wife, was over in Japan, which is hilarious because she's not Japanese. She's from Mexico.
Aw, that's a great dad story.
So yeah, he's like 6,000 miles away when I could have, I'm sure I could have been somewhere locally.
Right, walked across the street, right?
Yeah. Yeah, my daughter was born there. I went to Germany. I've been kind of all over the world. My son was born in Germany, so I got 2 kids that can never serve as president. Even though they're
slapping the face to your kids. Good job.
Sorry, guys, you can only go so far. You were born outside of U.S. soil. But yeah, I got to go around and then ended up back, here in the States where I finished up my career. I have a love-hate relationship, and I think if anybody in the military is honest, they have a love-hate relationship with it. The guy that says, "Oh, I hated all of it," well, you were probably a dirtbag. And the person that says, "Oh, I loved every minute of it," you were an apple polisher. We all have love-hate relationships with that military, the good, the bad. I got to see sites that nobody, that I know have seen, been all over the place. I loved it. And then, got out at didn't do my full 20. I left to go to seminary. And that's how we ended up in northeastern Pennsylvania. My school was up here. But yeah, I enjoyed a lot of the military. Definitely my wife, my kids, that was one of the greatest things that came out of it. But it was also that camaraderie, right. that esprit de corps, if whatever, that bond that you have of sweat and blood and sucking mud. And when I left, I was at a loss. You spend so much time wearing the uniform and having boys and gals with you that you may not all get along, but you have that same bond. Mm-hmm. And when I left it was a hard kind of a, displacement, disassociation, and you can't find that in the civilian world. So it took a lot. And then, not to jump to the end, but that's what I found again in wrestling. So, it was that camaraderie and that bond. So it's actually helped me out. It's a lot of things. I was a cop. I did combat communications, which we just nicknamed ourselves Target. And
okay.
Yeah. Well, you ever see the war movies? Yeah. The guy with the big radios on their backs that get shot first? Yeah, that's us.
Yeah, I get it. I got it right off the bat. You guys are the boom, done. See you later.
Yeah, it's like parent pitch baseball all over again, except you got an enemy shooting you instead of baseball.
So we're getting off the military before this. This is a wrestling podcast, and we are getting there, folks. We are getting there. He made reference to, and I'm going to say the High Ground family, and we'll get there. Yeah. But you also brought up you went to seminary. Like you are a multifaceted person. Like you've been up to the highs, you've been down to the lows, and now you're in the middle. So like talk about that. How do you make that transition from military to I'm going to go be a preacher?
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's my 9-to-5 job. Because I can't wrestle independently and provide for my family. I'm not that good. So yeah, I'm a pastor. That's my day job. I work as a hospital chaplain. So yeah, I got out of the military to get away from, death and suffering, and I go right into a profession that deals with death and suffering. So,
you're a glutton. You're a glutton for punishment.
I'm telling you, chaos. I love it, but I do love it. It was just one of those things that when I left, the idea was come back and serve as a chaplain, but then I just loved doing what I did. And the harebrained idea that I had was I love wrestling. I love it. I loved it since I was a kid. I loved every aspect of wrestling, not just the characters and the moves and stuff like that. We all know what wrestling's about. We're not dumb. Right. We figured it out about the mid 80s. So I love what goes into it.
The pomp and circumstances.
Yeah. Most people don't want to know how it's produced, what the cameramen do, what the creative process is. How do you do a character in a storyline? I wanted to know all that. I loved it. So that was a big love of my life and a passion that I had. But I figured I could never do that. And then the other passion I have is being a pastor. I love being in front of people, talking to them, helping them, serving other people. And that's kind of why I got in the military too. I love to serve others. And I thought, well, here's a harebrained idea. Let's blend the two together. But I had no idea how to do that. I always thought I could do ministry and wrestling. and figure something, how to do that. How could I do something, either help other wrestlers or use it to help other people? But okay, by the time I get to seminary, I'm in, heading towards my 40s. So yeah, I'm too old. There's no way. That was my shoot for the moon dream. And I've accomplished everything else I wanted to. I've got my family, had my military. I went to school, got my degrees. I'm a pastor. I'm a chaplain. I got my last one. If I don't accomplish it, I understand it. It was too much. And then look, here I am, So
yeah, here you are on Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
Yeah.
So again, leading you, because you're leading yourself, which is awesome, because I love this. I'm just sitting back and enjoying the stories.
Oh, okay.
Lead me how you found high ground in all of that. Like, what makes you say, I'm here and there's a wrestling school right there, I'm going?
I listened to Valos's your podcast with him, and I blame him. And my wife blames him.
Okay, good. At least he's good for something. I'm kidding, yeah. Valos. I love you.
No, he great guy. I enjoyed working with him, and he's fantastic. But if he hadn't given birth to his daughter, I would have never gotten to wrestling. I had met his daughter at a sub shop, and she just out of the blue mentioned that she was a wrestler, and I was like, oh, cool. Where'd you train? I'm thinking Pittsburgh, Philly. I don't know about the independent scene. I'm thinking you got to go to, Monster Factory, the Powerhouse, the Performance Center. That's where you go.
Right.
I know there was one, Jakara had one out in Philly for a while. I was like, oh, that's where you went. She goes, oh, no, it's 30 minutes, from my house. I was like, my wife sees the light in my eye. And she's like, oh, no. And I'm like, I finally found how to do my shoot for the moon dream, and all because I went to a little sub shop, met this gal, and actually I didn't tell my wife about it. I kept it secret till I met with, it was Backbreakers at the time, so it was Justin Glory. I met with him, then I met with Jack Molson, and then decided, okay, I'm going to do this. I kept it secret for a couple of weeks. I even started going to the gym 2 weeks before I started training, telling my wife, I got called into the hospital because I figured she's going to kill me. Here I am, big bad Sarge, I yell and scream and I stump mud holes in people's rear for a living. And I'm afraid of my wife.
We all are. Not just yours. Did you hear me apologize earlier? Yeah.
Yeah. We think we're the bad guys, but you know what? No, our wives they're the ones driving us. So.
Oh my God. She's going to beat me one of these days when I meet your wife. God. So tell me about training, because I don't know. I know your first match and we'll talk about it, but you go to training, you get this going. Was there a time? Listen, I keep throwing you under the bus because we're both there, age-wise. Was there a time where you're like, okay, I lived my dream. I did training. I'm good to go.
They had me stick around for a Sunday night. I went and met him on a Sunday. He said, stick around for a training session. See what we do. That's when I realized, what have I gotten myself into? I need to tap out right now. Because you watch it on wrestling, you see these bumps, you see these flips, you see all this stuff, people getting chopped, and you're going, ooh, that hurts. When you're 5 feet from it,
yeah,
and it is that loud, you're like, you got to be crazy. And then I thought, okay, I met that prerequisite. Okay, but yeah, and I didn't think I could do it. To be like you're saying, age. I'm only 45. It's not that old, but the military really destroyed my body. The wear and tear on that. So I'm thinking, man, what am I going to do? Maybe I can be a commentator. Maybe I can be a manager. Oh, managers have to take bumps. I got bad lower back problems. There ain't no way I can do this. I guess I'm going to be sitting at the desk or running a camera. But hey, as long as I'm part of the industry, I'm part of the business.
I'm in. Yeah.
That's all I cared about, because that's what I wanted. I wanted to be a part of it. Never thought I could be a professional wrestler. Thought I'd have to do something on the sides. And then, started going through the training, hitting the gym. And all of a sudden I found, hey, wow, a body in motion stays in motion. A body at rest stays at rest. Military just fed me pain pills and said, sit down. You can't do anything. You're broken. Once I started doing stuff, I started going, okay, I can take these little bumps. All right, cool. Let's try bigger ones. Let's try something else. And now it's like, that's the greatest physical therapy I've ever had. You know,
Really is.
bad. My back hurts. Give me a flip, man. Suplex me. Give me a body slam. I got to work the kinks out, you know, kind of a deal. And I'm ready to go. So, yeah, there wasn't any part where I went, enough's enough. It was tough because I haven't done sports since middle school. I haven't done activity except for the military, doing our PT, but I had back problems. So half my military career, I was on what's called a profile. I couldn't do much because my back was jacked. Don't like going to the gym. Don't like doing this stuff. But yet then that put me into a situation where I'm helping myself while doing something I love and I think is fun as all get out. So, yeah,
that adrenaline takes over, right?
Yeah, and it's not even like getting the shows. Anytime I walk into the training, it's like, all right, let's do this, you know? Yeah, I'm going to pay for it the next day, pop my ibuprofen, and for a couple of days, I'm fine. But, yeah, I love it, you know? Beat the snot out of me. It's, again, the chaos.
Right.
You know, that's what I love. I love getting in there. There's no other place you can legally throw somebody around and get thrown around.
Right. So I know first match, but I like everybody to know, you know, I know you did your first match, this, that, and the other. Give us the emotions. Give us the jitters. Give us, you know, what you were, you know, in the a la green room or the dressing room. And then once you hit that curtain, all those feels.
Oh, I was a bundle of nerves. You know, and it's weird.
This is true, by the way. Bundle of nerves.
It's and I've had that before, but I do things for a living. I'm a preacher. I've been in front of crowds before. I did stand-up comedy. I've been in front of crowds. I've been heckled. I've been cheered. Why am I so nervous? Is it because it's a physical thing or something like that? Or, you know, what is it? Maybe it's just because I'm finally doing something, you know, that I've always wanted to do. And standing there, and it's just kind of like I'm shaking, and then I hear my music hit. Mm-hmm. And I almost freeze. You know, and I'm like, okay, it's been like 5 seconds. I need to go through the curtain, you know. But it was so great. That first match just coming out, and I didn't know how people would respond to me. The cool thing is I got to see, as soon as I came out of the curtain, there was my wife and my kids on the other side of the ring. I saw them pop out of their seats like there's a firework underneath them.
Yep.
You know, and they're cheering for me, and I hear people cheer, and I got my music, and, you know, you're kind of in awe of it. You know, it's like, wow, I'm actually doing this. This is not a dream anymore. This is not a crazy plan. I actually stepped through a curtain. Now, this might not be WWE or AEW, but it's professional wrestling. And this is my first match. This is my first entrance. And to be honest, I kind of froze there for just a couple of seconds just to soak it all in. You know, I don't care whether it's 10 fans, 100, 100,000. You know, the fact that somebody came to watch you wrestle, that was humbling. You know, you kind of, okay, I got to shake back the tears a little bit. Now let's jump around, get hyped up, and, you know, get into that ring. And, you know, it was an amazing feeling.
Sarge, each and every month, and I'm speaking for you probably too, each and every month I get that same thing. And I'm not being pat myself on the back. I'm first one out of that curtain when the show starts. And you just get that, and you have all eyes on you, and you just get that rush that you're like, this is my home. This is where I belong, right? And
it's not, I think every job in professional wrestling, there is no little job. You know, I don't care if you're setting up chairs, concessions, if you're the ring announcer or a ref, a camera guy. Without all that stuff, the performers can't do, the workers can't do their job. You know, so everything, and we should all have that. You know, when I reffed, it was the same thing. First time I went out the curtain as a ref, it was that, oh, I'm doing this.
Yep.
You know, please, I do not want to trip.
Right?
I don't want to do a Titus World slide or anything like that. You know, oh God, just get me to the ring in one piece. You know,
for the most part, I'll put it like this: you guys have to go in and out of that ring once or twice, you know, maybe in match you're doing it. I worry about those steps. One of these times I'm going to be like talking to a kid because I multifunction, and I multifunction horribly. Ask my wife again. This is going to be all about wives, by the way, this whole podcast.
Yeah, no wrestling, no military, just wives and how we're going to get murdered tomorrow.
I worry that I'm going to fall down the steps one of these times. That's one of like, hold the rope, get down. Okay. Oh yeah. All right, I made it. I'm on the floor. Okay. Don't trip over the curtain. Don't trip over the curtain. Don't do anything stupid, Mark. Don't take away from the guys in the ring. You guys are gals in the ring. So yeah, you just it messes. It's chaos. I love that you keep going back to chaos. So yes.
Oh yeah, and like you're saying, being a wrestler, I found out when I became the actual wrestler. Oh, I go do my match. I'm done. Like what you're saying, you go do the match. You're done. You may have a run in later or something like that. As a ref or as a ring announcer or anything like that, that's multiple times. You're out. You are out every single match.
Yeah,
a ref is out about every other match. And you're going, oh man, yeah.
Don't fall. Don't trip.
I'm going to go viral for all the wrong reasons.
One of these times I will. All right. Remember I said I have a question for you, but you're not allowed to answer it until I answer it? This is it.
Okay.
I want to know who is the Sarge. And I pick out 3 wrestlers that I think you have something of them in you. So, very easy. Very easy. The first one, Corporal Kirshner. I went Corporal Kirshner over Sergeant Slaughter, maybe because you're a little bit smaller or something like that, but Corporal Kirshner. The second person, Greg Gagne. I do see a lot of Greg Gagne in you because you're a technical guy. You want a roughhouse, but you can also technical, and Greg did that. And then the third one, you mentioned them already, and you're going to be like, what? When you need to get down and dirty and get that, I see that you could turn in the junkyard dog and really thump people around.
All right, I can go with those. That's not bad. I'll take them.
Okay, who are your 3 then that you put in? And I know probably 2 of them because we've talked about this. But who are your 3 that you think? All right, this is who I'm building it around.
You like what you said with that? I would say. Probably the same thing. Sergeant Slaughter, though he's bigger, but try to do the next evolution of Sergeant Slaughter. He was the maggot, all that kind of gimmicky, but what's the next evolution of that? What would be bringing him up to date? So I would probably see Sergeant Slaughter. Man, this is going to Eddie.
Okay.
Eddie Guerrero. Just because of his size at the time. We're talking back WCW time.
I put it in our neck of the era. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
When he was the cruiserweight kind of a thing, stuff like that. And you know what? I'm going to say it. It sounds really stupid, but I got to go with even like Honky Tonk Man, just because of the way it is. You're trying to, the way he went out there, shake, get his little show, but then when he had to get down and dirty, he could, he could hit you over the head and, because he had a run as a face for a little bit,
Brief, but yeah.
Briefly, and that's when I really liked him, but he could still heal up. So like Eddie could be a face, but if he had to be dirty, he had to be dirty. The technical stuff, the ground pounding, those are the things that I like, not the, the high flying, and nothing against that, you like that high flying stuff, the flippy dippy stuff, go for it if you can do it. I'm a ground pounder.
Yep.
That's who I am. I'm a smaller guy. I like cruiserweight. That's the thing. The lightweight guys. So those, I guess, would be the 3 that I could think of.
I love them. We're on the same page. We're, just maybe different wrestler here or there, but we're on the same page because I think we knocked it out of the park. All right. Let's take a hot minute away from wrestling, and we don't have training. You don't have anything going on, and I know you really don't take time off of being a preacher or anything like that because you're always a preacher. But when you do get time, are you still nerdy that you watch wrestling? What do you kind of like to do? What do you nerd out about, essentially, still?
Me and my daughter are wrestling marks.
Yes. So you have to be, right?
Yes, but you still want to suspend that disbelief, So we love wrestling. We don't get to sit down and watch, the weekly stuff as much. We catch the highlights, but any pay-per-view, we sit down, her and me will order pizzas and stuff like that. My wife and my son, they support the wrestling thing. They're just not into it, you know. So it's me and my daughter. So we nerd out, watch wrestling. We fantasy book. We talked about our Mount Rushmore of wrestlers. Who we put up there and that kind of stuff. And we nerd out on wrestling.
Who is your Mount Rushmore then? Since you brought it up.
Oh, okay. Put me on the spot. It was Taker. Taker's up there. It has to be. Austin. I like his just that. I would like to try and emulate that butt kicker style, but I'm not at Austin. But the way he could do his stomp mud holes in people, right. But then he still could do that comedy. He could still be, something to draw people in. So Taker, Austin, definitely Eddie. And that's because I like him, how he does his character, how he develops that. He can be a heel, but you love him.
Right.
And then I got to put Edge up there. And my daughter laughs about that because I've got a man crush on Edge. I'm sorry. I'll admit it. There's a bromance there. So Edge has got to be up there. But he's also a great wrestler. So Taker, Austin, Eddie, and Edge, that would be my Mount Rushmore. But, yeah, we nerd out on wrestling. We like to talk wrestling, me and my daughter. And, I'll do stuff with my son, do stuff with my wife. When I do get the chance, to have some time off, I always try to find time. You
have to. Listen, at our age, yet you find time. It really is, squeezing, a 9 to 5 and the podcast for me and this, that, or the other. Okay, I am setting, and it sounds horrible that we have to say, I'm setting this day away. Don't bother me or anything like that because it's complete family time. We're at that stage, right?
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. I tell my wife, look, I'm taking, like my son and me, we'll go to monster truck events. That's the day we plan out. Okay, my daughter and me, if we missed what was down here, SmackDown. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know it was down here. And I was so upset when I saw everybody shooting me pictures of it. I'm like, no, me and my daughter always go to Raw and SmackDown when it's down here. And we didn't get the chance. We'll carve that day out. I'll carve a day out for my wife where, hey, here's a couple hours. Let's go get lunch. Me and my son, we play video games, watch movies. We try to have every minute we can.
You make them count. I agree. Big video game here on this end as well. My son and I don't click on the same games, but he does the online computer games, and he's slowly getting me into, like, I want a desktop now. I want to be able to do this. I want to do that. Comparative to a PlayStation 5. So, yeah.
Okay. Oh, you're a PlayStation guy. Okay.
I am a PlayStation guy. And I'm waiting. By the way, folks, this comes out Wednesday. Tomorrow, Fight Forever comes out. So you still have time to pre-order it and buy it. And then I'll be online playing all day Friday because talking about nerding out, Sarge, I took Friday off so I could go back to my childhood and play a wrestling game all day. I took the day off vacation so I could play Fight Forever the whole day. Don't bother me. The phone's going to be off. Boom.
That's actually coming out. You said this week, right?
This week. It'll be out. Today we're recording. Listen, it's Monday. All right. Well, wait. Is it Monday? Shit. I don't know. Yeah, it's Monday.
Yeah.
But it comes out, as of listening to the podcast, it comes out tomorrow. So Thursday, it comes out. Yeah.
I'm going to have to, because I play 2K, WWE 2K. Don't have the latest one yet. I'm still on, 22. So I did the same thing. When it came out, I took a day off. I played that. When 7 Days to Die Alpha 21 came out, I took a day off, played that. Trust me, I nerd out on.
I'm glad there's people like you and me out there yet, then, because a lot of, besides children, and I'm not saying this mean, children have all the time in the world to play stuff. Yeah. But in our 40s, that we still take time off to play a video game. My wife gave me the eye rolls. You're not 21 anymore. I'm like, I know. I'm 46, and I'm still going to take a day off to play AEW's Fighting Forever.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I look at my wife. I'm like, okay, I may be 45. I look like I'm 35. I act like I'm 25, and then have the mental capacity of a 15-year-old. So deal with it, okay?
You at least got 15. I got 5. So, all right. you kind of answered my next one about how much wrestling you get to watch with WWE and everything. So you'll cut time out and you'll make time for your daughter. So that's cool. All right, back into wrestling. Who's giving you the best advice behind the curtain for yourself?
In terms of wrestling,
Yes.
That's got to be Justin Glory. Back when I started, that man, and I love him. He'll always say, "Sorry, I talk too much." But you know what? I love that. Talk. You ramble for an hour. As long as I'm getting something out of it, that's what matters. Because I've learned in training, probably 80% of your training is not in that ring.
Right.
80% of it's going to be sitting and talking and sitting under that learning tree. So you want to talk my ear off for an hour and a half, talk my ear off for an hour and a half. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to learn not just, how you do a move, what the business is like. And then it's life advice. You can translate this into life too, So definitely Glory. And then Jack Wilson. I don't know how many times he grabs me, and he's kind of my taker,
Nice.
The guy that
Yep.
you go back and he looks at you like, oh man, he's going to just whoop me. What's he? But yet he's got all this advice. He can be in your face, but then he can be, okay, now let's bring it down. That guy would have made a great NCO. Let's put it that way. It would have been a great Sarge. So, caring, but I will stump a mud hole in you, kind of a deal. So yeah, all the advice that he's given me, and it's the advice that I get from those two is have fun. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Get out there, have a blast, have fun, take it seriously.
Protect.
But
yeah,
you want to be safe, but wrestling isn't life. Now, we love it. It's part of our life, but wrestling isn't life. There's life outside the ring. Have your fun, protect yourself so that you can go on with life. You don't want to be that 20-year-old guy doing all these weird things. And by the time he's 40, he's got a metal rod shoved up his rear end because he can't walk, so that's the best advice that I've gotten. Be safe, be smart, have fun. But remember, once you go back past that curtain, yeah, you're with the boys, you got a family here, but you got a life outside of this. I would say that's probably the best that I've gotten from both of them.
I love that because that is 100% what high ground is. It really is in a nutshell. And I've seen it across the board, not with Justin, but with Jack Molson. He's just been, and I've seen him grab you. Hey, do this. Blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And then you do it and you come back and you get that slap in the rear and it's the family. Do as I say, da-da-da-da-da, and it's not like he's whipping you or anything like that, but do as I say and it's going to go good, da-da-da-da-da, yeah. And then here's your gratitude at the end. We're a happy family. Look what you just did for everybody else here.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that I can take away from him. He doesn't, he will give you those words of encouragement. Hey, you did a good job. You did this. He will stomp you.
Yeah.
Because he wants you to be good. He sees something in you. He's not going to waste his time.
Right.
So he's putting it in there. Some of the best compliments he gives me is just a look and he walks away.
Yeah.
Because I didn't do anything wrong. I had a good match. He knows I had a good match. I know I had a good match. Okay. That's it.
Yep. That's 100% true. 100% true. I can't add or take anything away from that. So this is kind of the hardest hitting question that I throw out there. I know you guys all know that it's coming because you've listened to the podcast enough. Wrestling continues to change. Good, bad, ugly, better. But if there's something in wrestling that you could change, you personally, you magic wand, boom, and it's gone. What would you still want? Because there's still a stigma around wrestling sometimes that it's carny from people that just don't understand.
Glad you asked. This is my big thing. I don't know if you listen.
Sarge is getting on a soapbox. Hold on.
All right, hold on. Let me get the megaphone out here. No, you hear Taker and how he talks about the kayfabe and some of the old timers. They liked, where you're the villain, you're the villain. Inside the ring, outside the ring, in your daily life. You're a heel 24/7 or a babyface 24/7. Get rid of that. And I understand where he's coming from. And I kind of go, yeah, but what you're doing, you, Mark, doing right now, I think that's a benefit for professional wrestling. When you break down that fourth wall, when you break down the kayfabe, and I wish more people did that. You still got guys like MJF and stuff like that that carry their gimmick outside the ring. What invests me more into a character, into a wrestler, is knowing who they are.
Yep.
Not just who they are in the ring. Like Roman Reigns. I cannot stand his character. I just want Sammy to, haluva kick him into outer space.
Nice.
All right? His character drives me nuts. That cocky, arrogant. But when he came out and he said, "Hi, my name's Joe," and we got to see who Joe was versus Roman Reigns, you got invested in him. And then you want to go, wait a second, you're the sweetest guy in the world.
Yep.
How do you go from that to this guy that we hate? How do you go from this villain, and then when you take it off and you go, you're around, you're shaking hands, kissing babies, signing autographs. How do you transfer that energy? And that's what I want to see more of in wrestling, is break down that, at least in terms of who you are. When you're outside the ring, be a person. Let me get invested. That makes me more invested and not less invested. I want to know who you are. Babyface, heel, I don't care. And then how do you take that, your personality, and turn it into your character and your gimmick? And that makes me invested in you. It's a whole person concept.
Right.
I want to, if I'm rooting for somebody, you think about the old guys we used to watch, and you see like Hacksaw Jim Duggan, these guys. Well, yeah, you pull back the curtain, you go, wow, you're really like that in real life?
Yeah, you're really riding around with Iron Sheik smoking dope.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Those are the characters, though, actually, that are the most inspirational. The wrestlers, like Jake Roberts, he's inspirational. Ted DiBiase. You see these guys that, if I would have known what they were really like, and now that I'm, they pull back, they do the documentaries, you go, man, I wish I would have known the struggles and the things, because then you get invested into that person, and you by process, invested in that character. They are inspirational. I would have respected them 10 times more than what I did. I would have been a bigger fan.
Agreed. I think the number one thing out there now, and I get hate from talking about it a lot because people are like, they're only telling the bad side, but it encapsulates a moment in their life, their story, this, that. I think the dark side of the ring is amazing. Do you get to watch that on Vice? Or sometimes I know it's on YouTube as well.
Yeah, I'll catch it. I'll catch them on YouTube and stuff like that and watch those. But yeah, it's amazing to watch that.
Yeah, I agree. Some idiot just, you soundproof the studio, but you don't have millions of dollars like The Rock and, to drag race outside. So that's what you just heard, by the way. I know you were like, what the hell is that?
Yeah,
well, that's what it was.
Are you feeling okay? Did you hawk up a loogie, or did you have that?
No, there's an idiot outside working on his truck and this, that, and the other. So yeah, we won't edit that out because this is a whole long conversation. But I do want to say thank you. I do want to say thank you, because that was my whole idea of the spotlights. Like, we know The Miz and we know Randy Orton. We know their stories because they're documented. They're national treasures, essentially. Yeah. This is all about the indie stars. Why do I need to get invested in the Sarge? Why do I need to get invested in Valos or Shelby or the Bad Fellas or anything like that in High Ground? This is why, because you're telling your life story, and it's on display for everybody to find out who you are. And I want to know. I want to know why you like wrestling. You're just not in it to be the Sarge. You're in it because you have that passion, essentially, from day one. You're holding up your fingers. You and the Usos are holding up day one-ish.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The indies do not have. I mean, I love social media, and I think we're getting into a golden age of indies. A resurgence to where we have that social media, but we don't have the weekly. Like AEW does and WWE. So you don't get to see our character. So why? Yeah, like you're saying, why are you getting invested in any of us? If you go out to my social media. Now I'm not going to, talk about my woes and shoot you a picture of what I ate at the Olive Garden.
I don't know why. You and Virgil could be hanging out together, but whatever.
But yeah, it's those kind of things, on that social media, being able to put out a podcast or, I saw some pictures of Randy Orton doing RKOs on his kids in the pool in a bed. Well, it's Randy. That guy's the Viper. Dang it. He's a sweet guy with his kids.
Right.
That makes me want to be invested and go, now I want to watch him do an RKO on the Usos or, somebody else. I want to get involved. And I think that social media stuff that we're doing right now, what you're doing with this podcast, getting to know the people, let us break it down. I'll go back in the ring. I'll put on my Sarge hat. I played a gimmick for 15 years. I throw on my Sarge hat. I'm a Sarge in the ring again. And I'll be the nicest guy in the world. You push that jackhole button, I'll be a jackhole, and I'll wrestle. That's who I am. But why should you care intermission when I come out and sign autographs, which was the most mind-blowing thing that's ever happened to me.
Right.
Outside of my family stuff, why should I have kids and fans come up? Well, it's because they're watching me, not just the Sarge, but they're following me on my, different accounts that I have, and they're listening to the Can Crushers and listening to us. So yeah, there should be more of this. I get it. The MJF, I'm a heel all the time, the Undertaker, how he was all the time. Okay, I get it. It was that time. It doesn't work anymore.
Right.
We're not stupid as fans. We want to know more. And, it's like that Starship Troopers. Do you want to know more? Yes, I do. I'm going to click that link. I want to know who these guys are.
Exactly. I'll tell you, Ricky Morton said this and this isn't, oh, screw it. Yeah, it is. This is a pander to get every indie star on Can Crushers. But Ricky Morton, when he came on, he's like, every indie star should be knocking at your email or your door to tell their story and get them over. Because one clip off of this podcast could get them into WWE, AEW, Impact, up to the next level. Because if you can talk, shit, they can teach you everything else. But you have to talk. Right. You have to be able to tell your story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then, you should be like, you should be way too busy, doing this podcast.
Getting there. I'm getting there because I put something out earlier this week and I'm like, let's book July. Woof. I'm now into November. So, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. There you go.
It's great. It really is. So, yeah. All right, so you talked about like Mid-South and everything like that. Where do you see, and this is instantly already in my head, if you would be that 80s performer, where would you have gone? Mid-South, Florida, the NWA territory like Charlotte, or where do you think you would have gone?
Just my background, if you can't hear. I would have to stay below the Mason-Dixon line.
Okay.
Because those are my people. I would probably go into NWA. I would probably go down to, when Ted Turner was first starting that stuff up, being part of that Mid-South, the Southern, because I don't know, there's something about it. The fans are rabid.
Oh, they are. They are.
And I love that. If you're a heel, you got so much heat that they wanted to kill you sometime. How many times, you remember Slaughter when he turned heel? They really wanted he had death threats.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Rabid fans when you're down in that, past that Mason-Dixon line, nothing against fans up north, but that's where, that love seems to exude from, the heart of America, and it just beats out all over. So I think you've got the more rabid fans in the South. I would definitely say, yeah, you're talking Mid-South, you're talking down in that Georgia area, NWA. If I was, in that era, that's probably where I'd gravitate to. That, and they're my people. I can talk to them. Right. I don't have to enunciate the English vernacular. I can talk normal with people.
The other one, I completely agree with you. That was my number one. My number two was only because I brought his name up. I would have shipped you to AWA as well. You and Colonel De Beers probably could have did something really cool. But that's, yeah. All right, so we're almost done. We're going to get ready to wrap this up, but I have two more big questions that I really like. A little kid comes up to you and says, Sarge, and we kind of talked about this real quick, about the autograph and everything. And by the way, go back and listen to the Valos episode, because when a kid asked me to give an autograph, I cried. I went behind the curtain and cried. It's amazing. But,
oh God, yeah. There was the emotion, and I'm a teddy bear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's it. When these kids all of a sudden, hey, are you that military guy? Are you that Sarge? Can I have your autograph? And I've got these little pictures of me. Yeah, how much? Sarge don't charge. There you go. You know,
Sarge don't charge. That's a shirt that we need to make.
I like it.
Molson, you said you're getting one of those shirt makers. There it is. Sarge don't charge. That should be number one. My question is, though, you know, a little guy comes up to you and says, hey, Sarge, maybe the kid's 10. I want to get into professional wrestling when I get older. What do you tell him?
Honestly, do it. Don't let anybody tell you you can't, because that's my background. Being bullied, being told you'll never amount to anything. You're too small. You're too fat. You're too slow. You're too dumb. No, you want to do this? You go do it. And you don't let anything stand in your way. You're the only obstacle that you got. And that's what I would tell any kid that came up to me. You know, any person that can. That's what I tell my kids. You are the only obstacle. You're the only one that can stop you. Everybody else, screw them.
Yeah, you're the only one in your headspace.
Yeah, you're the only one that can say, I quit. You're the only one that can say, I tap out. Go for it. You know, don't let anybody stand in your way, because you don't know how far you go. I never thought I could do this. I never thought. I'm broken. You know, being a kid, being bullied, being told you're never going to amount to anything. You know, no, I'm not going to I never let people tell me what I could and what I couldn't do. Yes, it's going to be tough. Yes, you're going to hurt. You're going to be sore. It's going to be a rough road. But you're the only one that can stop. You know, I see a dead end on the road. I want to know what's on the other side. I'm going for it.
I love it. That's life advice along with wrestling advice, because it's life advice first. It really is. I know the answer to this question. At least I think I do inside this little pea brain that I have. Dream match that you could book. It doesn't matter what era or whatever. Who would you want to face in the ring?
Okay, you strip me back down to 25 years old. Okay. And I can do this. All right. So this is total fantasy, total dream. 2, I would love to wrestle Edge or with Edge. And that's just a bromance. But also, it's Edge. For God's sake, he's a rated R superstar. You know, this guy did so many things. Now I'm going to let him do the flippy dippy stuff. You know,
even at 25? Even at 25? Yeah,
okay, yeah, look, I used to, you know, I'm scared of heights, you know, so you ain't getting me on that 1,000-foot ladder. There ain't no way. But yeah, I'd love to work with Ed. I would love that dream match. Or to be honest, Eddie. For the love of God, I would love to wrestle Eddie just to have him lie, cheat, and steal on me.
See, I thought my pea brain was wrong then. I thought you'd say Honky at least once, because then you'd picture him as your dad throwing that baseball at you and you could pummel him one more time. It's all coming back.
I would say that, but then I'd have to wrestle my dad, and I don't care. He's 70-some years old. I'd still never step in the ring with my dad. You know? He's still bigger than life to me. So, yeah, as much as I would love to wrestle Honky, there's that's my dad, and I could never square up against him.
I respect that. I do.
I would love to be in that ring and dance with him, though. That's what I would like to do.
You and Edge against Honky, and I don't know. I'm looking around the studio trying to find somebody that Honky teamed with.
Eddie.
Yeah, well, no, Greg Valentine. Rhythm and Blues. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Goals going forward. And then the other thought will come back in. Goals going forward for this whole wrestling career.
Goals. Look, I'm realistic. WWE is not going to pick up the phone.
Right. And I love that you're honest with yourself. That's cool. You
know, I'm probably going to be indie. Now, you know, reffing, I may have more of a life. You know, and I love to ref. I mean, I love wrestling. but reffing is so much fun. So maybe as a ref, I have more opportunity out there. But let's be realistic. I'm going to stick on the indies, and there's nothing wrong with that. The indies are where everything starts, you know. So, yeah, goals. You know what I'd like to do is cruiserweight. I'd love to win a cruiserweight championship because I'm a big fan of it. I'm a big pusher of it because the cruiserweight is your everyman title.
It really
Not
is.
all of us can be Bobby Lashley. We all can't be Drew. We can't be big hulking giants. You know, the cruiserweight is okay. That 10-year-old boy that comes up to me, go for a cruiserweight, dude. You know, you can do that. Those are guys under 200 pounds. You know, that's most of your indie guys anyways. That's most of America is we're under 205, 210. We're all cruiserweights. We can realistically go, I like that. I could do that. You know, I can't be huge. You know, I can't be 6'4". I'm 5'10", 180 pounds. That's what I want. I want to take a cruiserweight champion and push it to the moon and make it as important as any other belt that's out there. And I think that's what's lacking in wrestling right now. WCW did great with that.
I agree.
They did a great cruiserweight division. I loved it. That's where, like you look at Eddie and Dean Malenko and those guys, Rey Mysterio, and they were fantastic. They were guys that you could aspire to be, even though we did like, Goldberg, we did like the big guys, more realistic. So I could see, but that would be a goal, is to try to get a cruiserweight, in the whole wrestling industry kind of a thing as a professional wrestler. That would be a goal of mine,
And then this one just popped back into my head. Specialty match. Clearly we're not getting you on a ladder for anything like that because that's out. But if you could pick a specialty match that you'd like to do minimally at least once before, you set the boots in the ring. Oh,
man. You ain't going to find me in a death match or a hardcore match. No. I want to be able to walk the next day. I don't want a Saturday match where it's hardcore and I got to go into church and say, get your communion to go. Pastor certain. Okay. So, yeah, those are, you know what? I'd like to do a steel cage. I think that, it can be brutal, but, at least nowadays, steel cage matches aren't what they used to be.
They're not Magnum and Telly anymore. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, you don't see them going through it anymore. The thumbtacks, all this. Yeah, you may have a chair here or there, but it's more. You can't do the high spots because of the cage and stuff like that. So, yeah, I could do a cage match. That would be about where, like I say, I've got a life outside of wrestling. I don't want to do something that's going to cripple me. When you're 20, you don't think about that. Oh yeah, throw me in a hardcore match. A no holds barred, no rules. Hit me with kendo sticks and jumping off ladders. Because your HMO will cover that.
Right.
I can't ride my laundry basket down the stairs. My insurance don't cover that crap no more. So yeah, give me a steel cage. I could do that. That would be a specialty match that. Yeah, all right. Let's book it.
Let's book it. All right, this is your time to spew out your socials, and if people from maybe Kansas now say, hey, my God, I really like this Sarge guy. Do you ship merch? Do you have merch? I know you don't charge for cards and stuff like that, but, give us all that. And August 12th, huh? Next big show for High Ground.
Oh, yeah. As far as I know, Sarge will be there.
Okay.
Unless they deploy me somewhere else. But yeah, social media, I got something on Facebook. I'm not a big Twitter fan, but I did put a Twitter up there.
Oh, because it's a cesspool of the world. That's why.
Yeah. I was on there, got off there, and then people were like, well, you at least got to put something on there for, throw a clip up there. Okay, fine, whatever. I'll make a Twitter. So, and then I you YouTube channel. I changed it. It used to be my gaming channel. Now I changed it over to Sarge because I don't do the gaming anymore. So, you just type in the Sarge Cal Christopher into Facebook, into YouTube, into Twitter. You're going to find me. I'll pop up. You'll see my little skull emblem that I have. So yeah, YouTube. I'm slowly getting stuff on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. With schedule and stuff. It's, and I'm not that tech savvy, so it's like takes a lot to edit, get things up there, but it's slowly coming now that I'm getting into matches and stuff like that. Got to have that social media presence. I do have merch out at Teespring, because I don't know how to do that. I'll do that print on demand stuff. That way.
It's great. That's the way we have our stuff. I agree.
Yeah, I would ship stuff out, but here's the thing. I forget where I put my wallet. So you can send me an email. I'll go, okay, cool. I'll get you the shirt. It'll sit on my kitchen table for 3 weeks. And I don't want to be that kind of a jerk. Yeah, so that's why I got that print on demand. So yeah, and it's on my Facebook. Right in that bio thing, it says merch. And I put out a couple of t-shirts just to get the ball rolling. I'm working with some local like police, school, stuff like that. Something that I'm doing, Sarge's Troopers. I actually put a shirt out for that, an anti-bullying thing for the kids and stuff, because I'm real big on that. So yeah, you can get a Sarge shirt and a couple other things. Got some stuff out there, some stickers, but then I got Sarge's Troopers. So I did that when I saw those kids. I'm like, well, okay, they need somebody to stand up, help them through their stuff. So yeah, we'll do that. That's something that another goal that I'd like to do with wrestling is to use it to help other kids, that went through what I've gone through and go, look at me. These guys bullied me and now I'm flipping dudes across the ring, so it's, I do got some merch out there for that kind of stuff. So yeah. And that's the best thing. Just click on it, go to the Teespring, order what you want. They'll ship it out to you. You get it in a few days. So
yeah, they're really good. They really are. People said I ordered it one day and it came like 2 days later. I'm like, that's faster than me getting it off of the box underneath the table. Yeah,
I could order 1,000 shirts, and now I'm sitting on 1,000 shirts. But then I gotta, with my schedule, I got to get to the post office. Oh man. Did I grab my wallet because I have no idea where I put that, so I got to run back. Yeah, you ain't getting it for a month. Yeah. If you want to order Christmas, order it in January.
Sarge, this has been a blast. Did I miss anything that you wanted to bring up and chat about?
No, that's pretty much it. Yeah, we covered the gambit here. That was a fun conversation.
It really was. Thank you for coming on again. High Ground Professional Wrestling. The next show is August 12th. It's going to be at the Falcon's Nest. Make sure you're there. Myself and Sarge will be there. Come out, say hi. We'll shake hands and kiss babies. We love it. We really do, because it's a family. It really is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You come out there, we're going to treat you like family. You come up, shake our hands, talk to us. We love it.
We do. Thanks again, Sarge.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, this is Bass Jesus Billy Starks, and you're listening to the Out of the World podcast of Can Crushers.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cal Christopher, the Sarge, probably one of the greatest men out there. He gave props during his podcast, his own spotlight, back to us because of what we're doing. And we talked a few minutes after we did the podcast, and I'm still smiling from it. Because of that, he knows this is a great outlet to find the stories out. Those wrestling magazines aren't out there that we can, get even the kayfabe story about, Razor Ramon or anybody like that. But we wanted to know more about who Scott Hall was, and we got a little bit. This is what this is about, and he opened up. This is why you need to love the Sarge and to be a trooper. I want to be a trooper. As I'm ring announcing, and I don't know if it's legal for me to have favorites in the ring, but if we're going to have like little sheriff badges or, stripes for my sport coat or something like that, I'm all in. I want to be a Sarge trooper to give back. Because the same reasons, being bullied is not cool. We can all do this. We talk about High Ground being a professional wrestling company, organization, whatever you want to say. But behind the curtains, guys, we're family, and we want to put on a good show for you. Oh, this was such a great interview. These guys from High Ground are bringing it. To talk Honky Tonk Man. How about this? You're a Honky Tonk Man fan, and he smashes Savage, who you're a fan of, and then Savage has the snake bite with Jake, and it... Like, this was a great interview again. This was an amazing interview. And Sarge is such a great human being, just talking wrestling, spending time with his family, playing wrestling, doing it with his daughter. Unbelievable. Guys, I had a great time again here on this Spotlight. Again, if you want to be part of Spotlights, cancrusher69@gmail.com, or slide into any of our DMs on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. We'll get you set up. We'll have a blast telling your story so everybody out there can hear it and what you made you get into professional wrestling. It was a good one. Remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's a garbage can, not a garbage cannot. Make sure you tell your loved ones you love them, because you never know.